Okay, congratulations. You're ready to start your first draft. 2026 is your year. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to let you know right now. This is not going to be a video of me discussing about like the fundamentals of writing, telling you like, "Oh, you need to start your story this way or that way. This is how you should write out your characters. This is how you introduce your characters. This is how you should start off with the dialogue." Things like that. Like, I'm not going to be discussing anything like that. I'm going to be discussing about the day-to-day grind, how to go through the process of writing out your story and going through the ebbs and flows. That's what I want to talk about because that's what I think people hardly really talk about. They focus on like, the techniques, the detail, like, start off your story this way, that way. This is how you should introduce, da da da. Of course, those are very, very important, but if you're not able to go through the grind, if you're not able to go through the process and find your flow, your style, and how to be able to complete your first draft, then that's usually going to be the part that's going to cause you to stop writing in the first place and kind of give up on the first draft. So yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, so of course, we got to discuss about developing a routine because that's going to be very important, as well as setting writing goals as well. If you don't know, right, writing out one chapter a week, that's literally 52 chapters a year. Think about it. Think about it, right? For most of you guys, that's going to be your whole story right there, just writing one chapter a week. And that's why I always say like when it comes to writing out your first draft, you should not have a deadline in terms of a set goal of okay, my story is going to be 35 chapters. Don't do that. Because think about it. If you're at chapter 20 and let's say you made the deadline like 30 or 35 chapters, and then you realize at chapter 20, I feel like I have a lot more to put in. Then it's like now you're thinking about, oh, I should leave out this, I should leave out that. No, like just continue and have the chapters fall where it fall. Like have the story flow the way it wants to flow, where the way it's flowing in your head. So that's why I believe you should not put like, okay, this is where the story's gonna end. Chapter 40. This is it. Like, no, don't do that. But having a writing goal of like, okay, I'm gonna try and shoot for like one chapter a week. That's good. That's doable for a lot of us. Even if you work a 9 to 5 and you have kids and you have school, like that's doable. One chapter a week, that's doable. Come on now. But the main thing, when I say about daily grind, this is what I mean. First thing, the pitfalls. Prepare for pitfalls when it comes to writing out your story because it's going to happen. One thing I've noticed is the best writers, people who are able to complete their first draft and able to write multiple stories, is not because they're able to like write it out and they don't lose momentum or they don't have writer's block or they don't procrastinate. It's not that. It's really because, right? Let's say this, right? This is the ebbs and flows. It goes like this, right? They catch momentum and then they lose momentum. This is you right now, right? You catch momentum and then you lose momentum, but it goes down like this right here, and it takes you like maybe a month or two to like go back up. That's you. But and that's also me as well. I'm gonna be honest, right? But for like the experts, like the ones who really be doing this, like they have momentum and then it goes down a little bit, but then they spike back up. That's literally the difference. Truly, like that's the difference between you, me, and the best of the best, honestly. And before I continue in discussing about that, let me discuss about momentum first, right? Because this is the main thing about momentum. You gotta capitalize on those moments of momentum. When you enter the flow state, go all in. I don't care if you got to take care of kids, drop the baby, drop what you're doing with the job, drop everything and start writing out. Take out your phone, whatever, your notepad, and then start writing out like what's going on in your mind. In that flow state, when you have momentum, you want to write out those details as fast as you can, because this is why. This is the reason why, right? I know, I believe Stephen King says this, right? He's like, if it's a great idea and it's something that you know you need to write, is going to stick into your brain no matter what. But I kind of disagree slightly, and this is the part I disagree with. Yes, it will stick into your brain, but it's not going to be the best version. I believe that when it first appearing fresh in your brain is going to be at its best version. And then as you avoid to write it out and just let it like linger in your brain, it like goes down, like it slowly degrades. And when you finally write it out, it's like not at its best. It's like not as optimized. It's like it's still good, like it's still a good idea, but it's not how you remembered it. Like you it's hard to explain, like you know when you experience it, but it's like you when you try to remember an idea that's been lingering in your brain, it's like you kind of have a sense of like this is not everything that I remembered, but you remember the main idea at least. You know, like you get what I'm saying. You probably get what I'm saying. And the main reason why I say this is because I have this client, right, where we write a book series, and literally there's been times where we had great ideas and we just kept it for later on when that time comes to like actually write out those scenes. But when those time comes, is like this grand idea that we had is like once that time comes, is like now it's down to here where it's like, okay, we understand like the main concept, the main idea is still there, but we feel like there's something missing. Like we don't grasp everything that we had when we first had the idea, when we first thought of the idea. So that's why I say, like, no matter what, like if you have an idea that's fresh in your head, when it's when it's like fresh in your mind, write it out as soon as you can. Because this is how I think about it, right? This is where it's fresh in your mind, right? It's like off the screen, but then it slowly like slowly comes down. And then boom, once you write it, it stops right here. Like this is the stopping point. Like once you write it, it stops. The less you write it, it starts slowing down even more, and then until you write it. But if you write it right here, it stays up here. It stays as a great idea up here. But then but if you don't write it, that's when it starts decreasing. So you want to stop that decrease of like the idea, like losing its, I guess, freshness in your mind. So you want to stop that process as soon as you can. So that's what I mean by capitalizing on momentum. You truly want to do that, especially since you're going to have moments of procrastination, writer's block, things like that. So when you're experiencing the opposite and you have full on flow state, you want to write as much as you can for your draft. So yeah, let's get back to pitfalls. So yeah, like I said earlier, the best writers are the ones who able to overcome pitfalls as fast as possible. And the way they do that is through knowing themselves and having a system. So really it's all about testing and learning. And this is the main thing you want to do when you first when you first start out your draft. You want to test and learn your style, what works for you, because what works for someone else might not work for you. One thing I could suggest is like you have to remember that there's no rules when it comes to writing out your first draft. So maybe starting off with the end of the book, like starting off with the final chapter, might be best for you, because maybe that's where you have most of your ideas. Like maybe you literally could imagine in your brain, like scene by scene, all the best ideas, all the scenarios, all that come together in the final few chapters. But it's hard for you to come up with what's going to be happening in the first few chapters. So if that's the case, start off with the end and go backwards, reverse engineer. There's no rules. No one's reading your first draft. Like this is why it's called a rough first draft, because literally it's supposed to be a mess. You gotta accept that it's supposed to be a mess. So, like I said, if you write out your first two chapters, right? One, two, three, whatever, and then you're stuck with chapter four, but you have ideas for chapter five, skip chapter four and go to chapter five. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Break this belief that you have to go in order. truly, because that's really what be stopping a lot of people, is like the fact that they're stuck in this particular chapter, but they kind of have an idea for like chapter a couple chapters afterwards, but because they're stuck with this chapter, they're like not deciding not to move on and move forward with their chapter. No, skip that chapter, forget that chapter, move on and move on to whatever chapter you have ideas for. Or you could just put a placeholder. Sometimes we just have an idea, but we don't really like it too much. It's like, it's pretty simple. Like it can go there, like it can work, but it's like, I wish I had a better idea. Like put it as a placeholder. This is what I call placeholder ideas. Put it as a placeholder, put it there, and then move on to whatever chapters you have better ideas for. At least that's what I try to do. Another thing you could do when you're experiencing pitfalls is, what if, like the what if strategy. Let's say you are stuck between like two paths, right? Like let's say you're stuck with your main character being introduced to another character, or having your character being or having your character go into a new environment. If you're stuck between those two, say like, okay, if I go with this path, what will happen? And go with what the story will flow with this path. And then you do with the same thing with and then you do the same thing with the next path. You're like, okay, if I go with this path, how would the story flow? And then you kind of determine from there, like, okay, did I like it when it went this path this way, or did I like it better when it went that way? That's how you figure things out. Is literally how the process goes, testing and learning. That's why the first draft is so tough to finish, because you're gonna have to figure out your own style, what works, what doesn't work. And literally this is how you're gonna figure out, okay, when I do this, I find momentum a lot faster. I gain momentum quicker. And that's how you're going to figure out your process. One last thing I got to mention, when you finish your first draft, or during your process of your first draft, let's say, this is actually more relevant during your process, right? You're going to have times when you want to edit your story, and you want to stop what you're doing and you want to go back and edit, because like, shit, this was actually ass. Like, what I wrote back in chapter 2 was pretty terrible, and you want to go and edit. Don't do it. Stop yourself. Whatever you got to do to stop yourself, do it. Because seriously, you don't want your brain to be both in editing mode and like drafting mode, like writing mode at the same time. Like, don't do that. You want to do it one at a time. Don't focus on two things. Don't have your brain focus on two things at the same time. Only one. Like they always say, procrastination is bad for your brain. Well, this is one of the reasons why it's bad, because you don't want to be editing and drafting at the same time. Because this is how I get in trouble, right? Like, this is what happened to me, honestly, truthfully. I wanted to like go back and like edit chapter 5 and 6, but I'm in like chapter 20, right? And it's like, now I'm having my brain think of two things, like trying to solve two problems, is like telling my brain, okay, figure out a way to move on to chapter 21. Like, what ideas do I need? Like, what is the next step to focus on chapter 21? But at the same time, I'm telling my brain, okay, can you help me figure out how to fix chapter 5 and 6? So now it's like, you want your brain to figure out chapter 5 and 6, but at the same time you want your brain to figure out chapter 21 and what's the next steps. Like, don't do that. Like, that's too much. That's too much. And that's how you burn out, and that's how you stop writing. And that's how you stop writing for 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 months, you know? So that's how it goes. So seriously, it's all about keeping up the momentum and figuring out systems to get you back into the ebbs and flows and back into momentum. You literally, this is how your story is going to be, like your process, honestly, like up and down, up and down. But the best thing you could do is figuring out ways to bounce back as fast as possible. As soon as you feel a little bit of a drop, boom, you want systems to where you could, boom, just boom, pop back up. So right, right. So honestly, that's literally how it works, and that's how you're going to be able to complete your draft in 2026. There you go. That's the advice I want to tell you. So yeah, I hope this helps. If you feel like you have an outline and you're not too sure, you're ready for your first draft, you could click the link down below, and that'll be a link to a consultation call with me. I give feedback, I give ideas, suggestions, questions, ask you questions, give you my reaction to certain parts of your outline, just to make you feel confident and ready to start out your first draft. That's really the purpose of it all. But yeah, you can also click a video here or there that will link you to a video of explaining my consultation calls, how it works, what my process is. Also gonna have a video of showcasing me doing like a live story editing, like not editing, but like a story feedback process of me reviewing someone's story. Of course, I'll block off their story and it's just gonna be me giving them like general advice because of course I had to edit out like the specific advice I was giving to the person. So yeah, you could watch the video there, click the link, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like I said, now you're ready for 2026. Now you're ready to start your first draft. Now you know what to do. It's all about finding your process, what works for you, your style. Literally, that's literally all you have to take away from this video. So yeah, good luck, guys, and enjoy. So happy new year, enjoy, make sure have some fun with it. Like there's gonna be some dreadful moments, but remember to enjoy yourself. Make sure you write the story for you, and you make sure you complete that vision that would pop into your mind randomly that random day. So yeah, hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year.